Hi, Brad Newberg from SB Nation here. As we turn the page from football season to spring training, I'd like to take a moment to discuss the recent Hall of Fame vote where no one got elected, because I think one specific point was missed in all the hubbub. As you may know, while you normally get 15 years of eligibility, if you ever fall below 5% of the vote, your eligibility immediately vanishes and you're off future ballots. Now this past year, Rafael Palmeiro in his third try got only 8.8% of the vote, losing 1/3 of his 2012 total. Sosa, in his first try, got only 12.5%. It's my belief that next year, both Rafael Palmeiro and Sammy Sosa will lose so much of their limited support that they will fall below 5% and be off the ballot for good. Now take a look at the voting totals for this past election for everyone that got more than 5%. Everyone on this list but Dale Murphy will be back next year. Now the maximum number of players anyone can vote for on their ballot is 10 players. That's important. Just over a quarter of the ballots have been made public. Now of those 125 public ballots, 19 had Sosa votes and 12 had Palmeiro votes. While the average ballot used about 6.5 of the possible 10 slots, a Sosa vote came on ballots that used an average of 9.21 of the maximum 10 slots, and a Palmeiro vote came on ballots that used an average of 9.42 slots. So if you were going to vote for Sosa or Palmeiro last year, you had a crowded ballot. Now I go into this in more detail in an article, but suffice to say that in addition to Sosa and Palmeiro being on crowded ballots, they would likely be in the bottom portion of such ballots, at the very bottom, in terms of qualifications. Statistically that's true, but also if you're willing to vote for Sosa or Palmeiro, then you haven't eliminated steroid suspect guys, and people like Bonds and Clemens and Piazza, etc. are way more qualified. Also in general, someone who got, say, 50 or 60% of the vote likely ranks higher in most voters' minds than someone who got 10% of the vote, like Sosa and Palmeiro about did. Therefore, Sosa and Palmeiro are teetering on the edge of their prior ballots. And really, it's only going to take one or two additional superior candidates to knock them off many of these ballots. Now, next year we add Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, Frank Thomas, Mike Mussina, and Jeff Kent. As an initial matter, that means Sosa and Palmeiro are almost certain to finish within one slot of, if not exactly, 21st and 22nd respectively. In many years, and just about every year in the last 15, coming in 21st doesn't just mean missing the 5% cut, it means getting either no votes or just single-digit votes. Now starting with Greg Maddux, even in the steroid era, Maddux is getting in easily on the first ballot, and no voter is going to be crazy enough to vote for Sosa or Palmeiro and not Maddux. Now newly eligible Frank Thomas was much better than both Sosa and Palmeiro by a wide margin, and he gets points for his very public anti-steroid and protesting stance. Now, Jeff Kent won't get in on this ballot, but a number of people will certainly vote for him over Sosa or Palmeiro. He had a great career and was a second baseman. Tom Glavine won 300 games. I have no idea if he'll get in on the first ballot, but Tom Glavine is getting well over 50% for sure, and he has way better credentials than either Sosa or Palmeiro. And finally, Mike Mussina had 270 wins and great peripheral stats. In my mind, he's a Hall of Famer. I doubt he'll get in on the first ballot, but again, he's getting 50% or close to it. And on those ballots, again, he likely exceeds Sosa or Palmeiro's credentials. And remember, I don't need all these guys to beat out Sosa or Palmeiro, just one or two, and that'll knock them off a ballot completely. That's putting aside the fact that if I were a voter, I might not waste my 10th slot on a player I thought had no chance getting into the Hall of Fame at the expense of someone else I thought was worthy. So it's very possible that in a few years, views on steroid-tainted players will change, and players of that era will start getting in to the Hall with more ease, but I just don't think Sammy Sosa and Rafael Palmeiro will be on the ballot to see it.